All right, we're going live here, and tonight we're going to be talking about Dirty Harry, the 1971 classic. And I know I'm starting up a little bit early tonight. Um, I was going to start it up at 8:30. Right now it's 10 minutes to 8. But this is also a stream too. So for people that would like to ask questions, or it could be anything. I don't know who's going to join up tonight. But we'll see what happens. I'll talk about the movie as well as, again, answer any sort of questions that you guys may have. But let's see here. Hey, DJ. So we got DJ. But not much. Just kicking up the stream, kicking off the Dirty Harry review and discussion. Which the thing about this 4-pack, I don't see why they didn't include the Deadpool. That's the one thing that a nitpick that I have with the 4-pack here. Why not include the last movie? I mean, doesn't make sense to me. But I got this at Target. I forgot. I'm trying to think. It was maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I got this. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know who's going to join up here on this discussion, but I'll take any questions or anything that you guys want to talk about, as well as talk about this movie. But I'll wait for a minute. And when did I first discover these movies? Well, I know for quite a number of years, Wildman I know he's a big fan of Dirty Harry. I don't know why it took me this long to watch the movies, but I've seen all 5 of them, and yeah, I mean, they're just great movies. I mean, each one is great, and I know I was gonna do like regular reviews, but with this franchise, I mean, there's just so much to cover, and I figured why not do each one a live discussion and review, and get into the movies and talk about all types of things, and because you could really go in depth on these movies. And that's why I wanted to, do a little bit different. Instead of just a regular review, why not go into these movies a little bit more, as well as have some fun and answer questions pertaining to the movie, or, just random topics, what have you. But I love the Dirty Harry character. Now, like I said, I thank Wildman Beyond for that, because I know for a lot of years there, well, I mean, he's a big Dirty Harry fan, and so I finally got around to watching these movies. But yeah, but I just love the character. I love the setting of the city, San Francisco, especially with the first movie. That 70s era. But Joonbug, how's it going? And I will put a link in the chat. I just kicked off the stream a few minutes ago, Joonbug. But do you like that? There you go. But yeah, so what can we talk about tonight? I mean, so Dirty Harry came out. Oh wait, so we got Joonbug. Okay. Hey, hold on. Let me put on. I'll put on my.
You
Can
heard
you hear me?
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Yeah, I just want to say for those in the chat, I am having mic issues, so um, if you know, just tell John you can't hear me, and John can repeat it. So
I can hear you a little bit. I don't know if there's any way to turn up your volume or.
my phone is all the way up,
Oh
so
wow, okay.
it's just basically my phone's just being a dumbass right now. So
Oh
you know,
no, oh you're fine.
yeah. Well, what I like about these movies, and I can go there if you really want me to. How you can get really dive deep into the political stuff with this movie. I can go there if you really want me to, but or unless you want to don't really want to go there.
I mean, it don't matter. I mean, I don't mind.
Well, what? Okay, we're only talking about the first one. Like I said, Magnum Force is my favorite, and I'll talk more about that for Magnum Force. But what I like about this one is think about it. Think about this way: Scorpio. If this was made today, he's a TikToker. He's a social media influencer guy who sits there says uses the media against turns the media against the cop, Dirty Harry. If this was made today, he would be a TikToker or a social justice warrior. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, and by the fact that this movie was made in the '70s, I would argue that it's a classic cliche that this is more relevant now than it was in the '70s, but we're kind of living in the early '70s right now. If you really go back to history, um, so it's just something to think about with Scorpio. That he's a social justice warrior, basically.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because they casted him because he had the face of a choir boy.
Right, and well, that's the other thing. Did, did you ever look at the cast who was originally considered for Dirty Harry?
Yeah, there was a few people.
Yeah,
Actually, I copied
John.
it down in my notes
Yeah,
somewhere.
John Wayne, which I like. I do like John Wayne, but I'm just having a hard time picturing him as Dirty Harry.
Hmm.
Frank Sinatra, but Frank Sinatra was actually almost casted, but because of an old hand injury, from what I've heard, from a little mob incident he had, because Frank Sinatra did do some dealings with the mafia. He couldn't hold the 44 Magnum, and so that's
Oh wow.
literally the only reason he could not be casted. Robert Mitchum, which Robert Mitchum I could definitely see as Dirty Harry. It would have been very different, but I think it could have worked.
Yeah,
Um, Steve McQueen, but he didn't really want to play a cop again because he just did Bullet. Which,
and George C. Scott apparently.
yeah, George C. Scott would have been good. He would have brought a more angry Dirty Harry, but
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. That would have been interesting. He actually said in an interview with Playboy in 1980, he claimed that he was initially offered the role, but the script's violent nature led him to turn it down.
I mean, I'd argue that Patton is more violent than this, but okay.
Um,
But no, George C. Scott would have been interesting. I think that he could have worked. Like I said, it would definitely been a more angry, shouting Dirty Harry. But and interestingly enough, a lot of people in the chat probably don't know who he is, or John, you probably never even seen some of his movies. But the person who they originally wanted to play Scorpio was Audie Murphy. He was
who's that again?
Audie Murphy is his name. He's the most decorated soldier in U.S. history. He did some very B movie westerns, but he died in a plane crash before he could even really be casted.
Oh
Um,
wow,
I even remember reading somewhere, I don't know if it's on IMDb, that even James Caan was considered for Scorpio.
that would have been interesting. I think that would have been a good casting choice.
It would have been interesting too, but there's a
Hey,
part of me
wow,
that
man.
won- there's a part of me that wonders with James Caan if he would be a little too rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
but
like
just imagine that showdown. I mean, You got Clint Eastwood, James Caan.
Right. And what I find interesting is this is based off of the Zodiac Killer, which, ironically enough, around this time there was a movie about the Zodiac Killer, and I know this really depressed the cop that was trying to solve the Zodiac Killer case.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, John, Todd, what's going on?
Not much. Just talking about Dirty Harry. And what were we saying, Joonbug?
What I know this really depressed the cop that who Dirty Harry is based, loosely based on. Because it's like, well, hey, look, he can solve the Zodiac Killer. Why can't you? Because the Zodiac case is to this day still unsolved, and there's
sorry.
Oh, no problem.
And
we got Wildman in the house.
Greetings, salutations. We're glad to find where would Dirty Harry discussion be without little me? Huh?
Well, there we go.
The guy who's been working on a fan film for 10 years.
Yeah, I was just giving credit to Wildman Beyond at the beginning because DJ had asked about how did I get introduced to these movies or why do I enjoy them, and I was like, because Wildman, he's
very flattered, very flattered. I'm glad to make your day.
No. What I was just saying that what I like about Dirty Harry, the whole series is, especially even the first one, like, you could really, if you really look at it in a modern sense, Scorpio is a social justice warrior.
He is. He totally represents. This is totally, these movies represents what we need today, what's missing today. Some old school tough badasses who don't give a shit about wokeness or SJW shit. That's what's cool about Dirty Harry. He's like one of the first badasses who went through a straight line, was stuck in the middle. He didn't care about left wing or white wing. He didn't care about politics. He just wanted to do his job. And through all the movies he dealt all this political crap. Well, he just wanted to do his job and make sure justice is done. He didn't care about the politics around justice. He just wanted to get the job done, and people always pissed him off when they got in his way.
I think what the best line with Dirty Harry is, well, I think I'm paraphrasing it, but when a guy's running with a knife, buck ass naked, I don't think he's collecting for the Red Cross.
Yeah,
and just like his boss said, I think he's got a point.
Yeah,
exactly.
And one thing's for sure, you don't mess with Dirty Harry.
No, you don't, because he started off for these badass characters that we later on who went on to ignore authority from nobody. You can tell. You could say, of course, guys like he's not a police officer, but guys who went up authority like Snake Plissken or Rambo, even of course, speaking of Stallone, of course, Cobra, which I think we'll get to later because you guys just started, but we'll get to the inspirations of Dirty Harry later on. But let's just focus on that. But yeah, like I said,
yeah, when an adult male is chasing a female with intent to commit rape, I shoot the bastard. That's my policy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Wildman, what do you think about some of the original casting choices for, Dirty Harry? Like they wanted John Wayne, Robert Mitchum, George C. Scott.
Frank Sinatra was the big one. I think he was the first one. They even had a poster of him as the character, but he was just walking as he had a trench coat, he had a hat, and of course he had a briefcase. I was like, that's not a good look for Dirty Harry. And he even said that the 44 Magnum would be a tough gun to handle. That from Frank Sinatra, the chairman of the board himself.
Yeah. I heard the reason why he couldn't do the role was because he got into an old hand injury. He couldn't even hold the 44 Magnum because from what I heard, he got into a fight with Lucky Luciano and broke his hand.
Yeah, and John Wayne, it would have been cool, but like I said, he had that traditional hero mindset. He didn't. like I said, he didn't want to do the picture because he felt like this is against the traditional hero. But later, but after Dirty Harry became successful, he regretted it. And of course, he did on he went out to do his own take on Dirty Harry, which I think is very underrated. McHugh, have anybody seen that?
Yeah, McHugh's good. And
He had the badass car. He had the Uzi with the silencer on it. That was the cool. That was like.
And then there's another one he did, Brennigan or.
I could get into that.
Yeah, it's interesting. But
McHugh is better.
But Deep Fried Awesomeness says that he's only seen the first one.
You gotta see them all, man. You got Deep Fry. You gotta see them all.
I know. I have to see them all myself. I did see Sudden Impact.
Oh, believe it or not, I'm surprised. There you go. There you go. I have the Blu-ray. There you go.
I don't see why
you don't have all 5. The Deadpool's now on there.
Yeah, I was just saying
why is that not on there?
Yeah, I was mentioning that too. Like, why didn't they include the Deadpool in this Blu-ray pack? I don't know why.
Maybe because they didn't want to get mixed up with the Marvel character.
Yeah,
but you know what? But that set came out before the other Deadpool.
That's true.
Oh, I forgot. In case you didn't know, there was another interesting candidate for Dirty Harry, Marlon Brando.
I don't know. I mean, I do like. I mean, obviously, I like Brando, but
you feel lucky, punk. You feel lucky, punk. I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. You know, go ahead, make my day.
Well, one of them that we were talking about earlier.
Would that make him the Dirty Father?
Not that version, John. We were talking about George C. Scott, which George C. Scott I could see would be a very angry.
He kind of had that rage, the rage against the machine. But what's cool about Dirty Harry, he was calm. He was angry, but he still kept it calm. If George C. Scott got the role, he would. You feel like he punk?
Well, Joonbug was talking about James Caan was considered for Scorpio.
That would have been interesting. Yeah.
But for me, like I think that James Caan would have been good, obviously, but there's a part of me that says that James Caan was a little too tough to play Scorpio. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you going back to George C. Scott, if you go back and watch Exorcist 3, you can see a little bit of that dirty hairiness, especially the scene where he's talking to the nurse and he's like, it was not in the file, it's not.
Yeah, that's where I put down the sugar is not in the coffee. It's not.
Yeah. But why? The first, we can't talk about Dirty Harry without talking about John Milius, because Dirty Harry.
Yes, he was one of the writers. Yeah.
Yeah, Dirty Harry would not be Dirty Harry without. Yes, we're going to go here a little bit. The libertarian John Milius, because that guy did not give a damn about anything regarding left or right or anything.
I see his interviews, man.
Don Siegel directed this. What do you guys think about his other films? I mean, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Coogan's Bluff.
I do like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
He also directed Clint in Escape from Alcatraz, which is a very good movie. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I got it on DVD.
Classic. I think Don Siegel was a good director. He was really good.
He also directed Play Misty for Me and The Shootist.
No. Clint directed Play Misty for Me. That was Clint's first directorial movie.
I think
To the Meals with Sister Sarah.
I think that Don Siegel is one of those directors that is, like, I think film buffs know who he is, but I think in a way he's kind of underrated.
I see what you mean.
Film buffs know who he is, but like I think he should be looked at more like, I mean, I wouldn't put him on the level like some of the greatest of all time, but like I think film classes should actually study Don Siegel more, because talk about quite a bit of range. I mean, Invasion of Body Snatchers, Coogan's Buff, Dirty Harry, Escape from Alcatraz. I mean, those are two very different movies, and they're still, all of them are good movies. I mean, he had a great amount of range, and people don't talk about him as much as they should, I think.
And Clint even gave tribute to him and Sergio Leone at the end of Unforgiven.
Right, he did. He said that Sergio Leone and Don Siegel were some of his biggest influence on him as a director.
There's a good question from Deep Fried Austin. Do you think that Dirty Harry had an influence on detective movies?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you watch any single detective or cop movie after that, it all goes back to Dirty Harry. The way his attitude, his toughness, the way he didn't play by any rules, you know. And like I said, it led the way for these renegade cop heroes, you know, Lethal Weapon, and, you know, of course, Cobra, and a lot of course, Beverly Hills Cop. But Beverly Hills Cop took that concept and made it like funny. Like you don't have to be like a badass you could be a badass, but not with your gun. You could be a badass with your humor and your wit. Even Audie Murphy said that you can be a badass cop without being totally tough all the time. You have your wit and humor. That's which is why I hope they don't fuck up this new Beverly Hills Cop. Please don't fuck it up. Please.
Foley, Axel Foley, he doesn't need a 44 Magnum. His 44 Magnum is his mouth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Cobra, and like Randy Santoni and Andrew Robinson are in that again. I mean,
exactly. And it was by Warner Brothers, just like with Dirty Harry. It was like they were trying to do an 80s version of Dirty Harry, but with Stallone. Because, like I said, Stallone was like it was like an 80s version of Dirty Harry, and it's very underrated, very fucking underrated. I'm looking for a sequel to that, like other people looking for a sequel to Dirty Harry. Please, Stallfly, before it's too late, do it.
Yeah, he should have been really doing that much earlier before he did these straight-to-video films. There's another thing. What with The Rookie? Doesn't that have a little bit of
The Rookie. The Rookie was originally supposed to be a Dirty Harry movie, but it's with Charlie Sheen, but they changed it. Yeah.
So that was going to be Dirty Harry 6?
No, Gran Torino. That and Gran Torino, those two. I don't get Gran Torino. It pisses me off every time I think about it. You had an opportunity to bring back this character for one last badass Sarah, and then you change it to, I want to do a deep emotional story about this old Korean vet who's racist and he has a good. Get the fuck out of here! Come on, Clint.
Well, one of the movies.
It's a bad call, Clint. Bad call, right?
One of the movies I would have to give credit to before, that definitely probably had an influence on Dirty Harry, Bullet, in a lot of ways.
I was going to say, would you say Bullet was a factor in a way, too? That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, definitely. Because Steve McQueen's more like the cool Dirty Harry, but, Bullet...
Bullet was the archetype, because you never saw a cool... Steve McQueen is one of my heroes, and he changed the way how a cop can be cool, with the turtlenecks, because it was always about suit and tie, but Steve McQueen... He was the archetype Bullet, and it was the first movie that had the classic car chase. He was one of those cops that was cool with his car, or one of those heroes, who was cool with his car.
Right.
I was gonna mention that too, like the impact of Dirty Harry, from this movie and what you would see later in the '80s and stuff like that. Like, what do you guys think about its impact?
Well, I mean, even every actor after this really kind of wanted their Dirty Harry, like. Even Paul Newman.
He was the original choice for Dirty Harry.
Yeah, well, Paul Newman did a movie.
And he was the one who told him, get Clint Eastwood. Hey, he can do it.
Paul Newman originally did a movie called Harper.
Good movie.
In 1966. And then they did a sequel that's not really connected much at all to the original, but it's kind of Paul Newman's Dirty Harry, basically,
Yeah.
And... Yeah, every actor after this kind of wanted their Dirty Harry. And really the only one that became successful is Death Wish.
Yes, I was about to mention that. That took the whole Dirty Harry concept and took it to a whole nother level, because he wasn't a cop. He was a regular person. He was a regular guy.
Uh-oh. I think Dirty Harry got wild.
Did Dirty Harry...
Did Scorpio get him?
Yeah,
The Scorpio got him.
Yeah, Dirty Harry.
Death Wish led the way for the vigilante character. That wasn't a cop, which led the way for other vigilante characters, like the Punisher. For sure. Yeah. That's part of the concept of Dirty Harry. And of course, like you said, Charles Bronson was the other person who took that Dirty Harry concept and was successful with it. And it would have been awesome if there was a Dirty Harry Death Wish crossover, because those two guys Bronson and Eastwood would have been a dream team, because people were trying to get them together for years. I always
thought that this is you make a crossover of Dirty Harry and Bullet.
Yeah. Or check this out. I heard they even wanted to do a crossover with Bullet with Dirty Harry and Shaft.
Interesting.
You damn right.
What do you guys think about this question? What's the best and worst movies in the franchise, the Dirty Harry series?
You know what? There's no worse. There's no worse for me. They're all great. They're all great. I know the Deadpool got a lot of shit, but it's not that bad. They're all great to me.
They're all good.
Mustn't play favorites, just like with the Top Gun movies. There's no favorites.
They're all good movies. I will say, like, honestly, I like them all, but my favorite one is Magnum Force.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I remember watching Magnum Force the most. Yeah.
If I had to think about like all 5 of them, at the very bottom, even though I love all 5, I would put the Enforcer like down last.
Yeah, I remember there was one review on Amazon that said it was the least liked of the series.
And that was the movie that introduced to what's her name?
Tyne Daly.
Yeah, which she went on to do her own type of Dirty Harry, which was for females, like Cagney and Lacey, that TV show. That led the way for female cops, you know. And believe it's going back to, and speaking of Cobra Kai, Martin Cove was on that show.
That was originally supposed to be. I know Cagney and Lacey was originally supposed to be a TV show based on that character.
Really? Like she survived. She didn't die. She survived, and then she goes on.
Yeah. Well, she survived, I guess, in the original script, but Clinton said that no, she just died.
Here's another question: do you guys think about Deep Fried is asking? Do you think Dirty Harry needs a remake? Or
no fucking way.
If anything, you should at least do a sequel and have maybe a son of that character kind of continue.
No, I don't want the son thing. I hate what they always have to have a daughter or a relative. Just give a break on that stuff. Let the character be who else stay alone. I'm getting sick of that. It's getting tiring. That's just my opinion.
The only way I would want to see a sequel or a remake is if it's a sequel to the Deadpool, but in a video game format.
Exactly. Going to the video game. They, back in 2017, they were going to do a Dirty Harry video game, which takes place between, I think, Magnum Force and the Enforcer. I think it was between both the first one and Magnum Force.
Yeah.
Clint was going to come back. Gene Hackman was going to come out of retirement to play his boss. Michael Chiklis from The Shield was supposed to play a villain. Lawrence Fishburne as well. Michael Biehn from The Terminator. It was. And Clint was very serious about it. His own production company, Malpaso, was involved.
Lucy Liu.
There are videos of documentaries of them making this game. They were 98% finished, and for some reason they dropped it. They were this close to being finished, and they fucking dropped it. They had a story, they had the graphics and everything, and for some fucking reason something happened. And they dropped it. I don't fucking get it. This game needs to be grid lit now.
Listen, I will say this. What you do is you make a Dirty Harry video game before Clint Eastwood dies. And you just make a sequel to the Deadpool, and you just do my idea. It's a crossover of Dirty Harry and Bullet.
What's that beeping sound?
Or even better, Dirty Harry and Death Wish, because people want a Death Wish game. I know we had Death Wish game way back, but why not? I wouldn't mind having a Death Wish game. Have an actor play Charles Bronson.
Hey Quinn.
Hey, hi, Ryan.
What's going on, Quinn?
I would like to hear his take on it.
Yeah, I do hear a little bit of a humming sound. I don't know.
But yeah, do a video game which is a crossover of Dirty Harry and Death Wish.
Hey Johnny.
I guess that could.
Johnny Jerry in the house.
Wait,
Johnny Jerry, glad you can join us.
I know MGM owns part of Warner Brothers. I'm not sure how much that could really work, but just because of the rights issue. But yeah,
I even heard that they want Rockstar to be involved because they did the Grand Theft Auto games, and they're very good at making movies based off of characters.
Here's a question from RJ: would you guys consider the Deadpool a good horror movie for October? I wouldn't even call it a horror movie.
I don't see the Deadpool as a horror movie. It's Dirty Harry. I don't see. Are you talking about the Marvel character? Because we're talking about the fifth Dirty Harry film. I don't see the Deadpool as a horror film.
No, not really. I probably call. Unless we're talking about the whole franchise, it's kind of real life horror, but that's a different story.
Hey Bobby.
But
they-
Cobra does have some horror elements.
Mecca says that Max Payne developers should do it.
I agree. Yes, because Max Payne. That's a huge example. A character who goes but they gave him some shitty movies. They do some good games, but some shitty movies. Jeez.
Well, look at that. There's another influence with Max Payne. But look at like John Woo and some of his movies.
Yeah, exactly. They can get John Woo to direct a Dirty Harry movie or game.
Well, look at some of.
Of course, especially Hard Boiled. That's another example. Like the character of Tequila, Chow Yun Fat. He's like Dirty Harry, but but for the Hong Kong martial arts genre, that was a badass character, very unique at the time.
And definitely a lot of John Woo's movies were definitely influenced by Dirty Harry. Obviously more stylistic, but
exactly.
What do now about Dirty Harry? Do you guys have any favorite moments or highlights? What stands out to you about the film? Or
I'll give you one. Too much sugar is bad for you. He's at
I know what you're going with that.
Yeah.
I always like the fact that Dirty Harry is just getting he notices the car and all the cigarettes there, and he just like, I'll just ignore this, and he decides to get a hot dog, and then he sits there, sees the bank robbery in progress.
What's with the beeping I keep hearing?
Oh,
the Scorpio.
The Scorpio. Okay.
Scorpio's trying to get a hold of somebody.
And so then he and then he goes in and just shoots up, and then we get that classic line. This is a holy God. Most powerful evidence of it. Yeah, that's just
I can barely hear you, Ty, if you're speaking.
Yeah, I know. I'm having a lot of mic issues, so.
Okay.
But definitely Clint's performance. I think Andrew Robinson's performance is well acted.
Mm-hmm.
The setting, the city setting. I mean,
yeah, San Francisco, because around that time, think about it. This movie came out in 1971. We were coming out of the 60s. Mm-hmm. And the 60s was a rough, fucked up day, kind of similar to where we are now, which is another reason why we need to care. Because Martin Luther King was assassinated, JFK was assassinated. The people were like powerless, and they wanted some hero to come, and that's when Dirty Harry came along and changed everything. And that was the time for the Miranda rights, where people weren't focusing on the rights of the victims; they were focused on the rights of the bad guys, kind of like similar to where we're going now, And Dirty Harry came along, and it changed everything.
Exactly. We need honestly a true hero like Dirty Harry in movies now, because I mean.
Yeah, because there's no superheroes in real life. You don't expect those superheroes. That was the coolest thing about Dirty Harry. He was like the first serious action hero. He first with James Bond, then you had Dirty Harry, then you had Rambo. These were characters that could exist in real life. Exactly. That's the difference between action heroes and superheroes. You don't expect superheroes nowadays in real life. That's what's so cool about these characters. Action heroes, old school action heroes. Top Gun Maverick. That's a character who can exist in real life. Dirty Harry is a cop. Dirty Harry led the way gave this new image of cops instead of being racist and being or they back then thanks to Dirty Harry, cops were treated as like superheroes, like super cops. Go on to Miami Vice and Cobra, those type of cops. We need those type of cops again.
Well, look, speaking of super cop, there's another influence. Jackie Chan's Police.
I knew you were going to say that.
Franchise.
I mean,
look
super cop. I remember that.
Well, I mean, Jackie Chan even said at one point that he was influenced by Dirty Harry with Police Story. So
I figured that's going to be the case. Police Story.
And I mean, James Bond and Dirty Harry have to be one of the most biggest influences on action. I mean, we wouldn't have a lot of these action movies that we all know and love, and all of us have reviewed them at some point without Dirty Harry and James Bond.
Absolutely, and especially Rambo, yeah.
Do you guys have any cons? I mean, if there's like a nitpick or two. I mean,
no cons with me. No cons with me at all. And going back to your question, what's my favorite moments? There are so many moments. Of course, the classic line where he has where he's in the coffee store. And the guy has the girl by by gunpoint. He's I like how his character he's very calm. He just aims a gun at me. He says, "Go ahead, make my day."
You know, it's not.
Can
Really
you-
it's not really. I would call it more of a nitpick.
You got
more
to
than-
do something with your mic. We can't hear you.
I would call it more of a nitpick, more than a con. Like some of the actors who play the cops are not necessarily the best actors in the world, but they're typical. You know, like the guy who plays his boss, Al Dressler or something like that is his name. The actor, the character's name. Gene Hackman was going to play him in the video game.
Yes, yeah, that guy.
And I think that he's a very mediocre actor. But what's really cool is how they were gonna get Robert Mitchum. Well, his brother's in the movie.
Yeah, yep, that was his brother. Yeah,
And what I like about him, John Mitchum, is he's kind of like I don't know what it is, but he kind of like reminds me of like Dirty Harry. You know what I mean? Like just this older kind of guy maybe a little wise cop guy, but he just kind of always just kind of reminded me of Q. And I wish he did not die in The Enforcer. Or
yeah. I didn't like that he died either.
you should have
Same thing. Reason why I didn't want the Lake Cup yet. They should have done a spin-off with her. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I probably could have used more Rennie Santoni. Actually,
Yes. Right.
But,
That's one thing that I
in the
wish.
first movie, he even said he wanted to retire. But it was cool that they kind of gave homage to him in Cobra. He because he played a character. Last name was Gonzalez.
Right.
Hey, let me try something real quick. I want to make sure that's not some kind of strange sounds emanating from my end. So hold on, let me mute
because I
myself.
hear a noise or something. I don't know what that is. Okay, it stopped.
It stopped now.
It stopped. I don't know what it is. But anyways, okay. What about the controversy that followed the movie?
I know where you're getting with that. That was, you know what? Some of that was kind of early wokeness, early SJDs. I understand he's a fascist and all that. Yeah, the early woke shit.
It was just, yes. Well, okay, wokeness has really been.
It's been around for years. It just got worse.
If you do your actual research, wokeness has really been around. They can't really say a full thing about it. Arguably since the 1920s, because woke is just a version of Marxist and all that stuff. But I'm not opening the can of worms for that, so nobody in the chat, please don't comment on that. It's just people, honestly overthinking the movies, like what they do nowadays, like overanalyze the movies. Like I'll use this as an example, like the baloney documentary, with The Shining, Room 237.
What is that? You guys hear that?
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
It's a transient. Wow, man, do you hear that?
Is Scorpio coming?
Are you getting a transmission?
No,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Oh,
I'm
playing
fine.
it?
I'm okay. I don't hear much.
I was going to say that I had my headphones, but are you still hearing that noise? Or I mean, other than that noise you just heard, are you hearing anything on my end? Or
Yeah, I can hear you.
and is mine making a strange noise or anything like that?
It made a beep. Okay,
Well,
it
the
stopped.
beeping's-
It
yeah,
stopped.
the beep-
Okay, it's
the
gone.
beeping's not on my end, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't hear nothing, but it's gone now. It's gone.
What were you saying, Junebug? Or
Well, I think it's just as people overanalyzing movies, really. Like just like that whole documentary, Room 237, where they overanalyzed The Shining and all this stuff. I just think that's people just looking at something that isn't there, in a movie. Like, people say, how in the clouds there's a Minotaur in The Shining. Like, no, there's no Minotaur there. You're just over.
That is exactly the problem going on with movies today. They take his shit too fucking seriously. It has to be this. It has to be that. Movies aren't fucking perfect. Get a fucking life. It's not meant to be perfect. It's entertainment.
Exactly.
Tell them what they need to knock this shit off. That's what's hurting Hollywood. And that's why it's hurting the characters like Dirty. Why we don't get a lot of action movies, because they keep bitching about action movies nowadays, which is pissing me off.
Well,
I'm trying to imagine, like, it's like you could say, what if the film came out today? But what if today's society, with how things and people, there's outcries on Twitter and TikTok and all these.
You know what? They might be bitching now, but one of these days you're gonna need a guy like Dirty Harry to get you out. Then what you gonna fucking say then?
Well,
yeah.
But if there was Twitter back then in 1971.
Here's the thing. Okay, a lot of those people who complain about all this stuff on Twitter, it's been proven before, the people who complain about it, when their life is in danger and they're being beaten, who do they call for?
Good fucking question.
Exactly. They call for the police as they're being beaten.
Yeah, and now they want to talk all that shit about defund the police, defund the police. Where the fuck are they going to be when your asses are going to be beaten, killed, or raped? Where are you? And they're going to be. Well, your fucking big mouths. Your big mouths killed yourselves.
Did you hear about this? Remember Alyssa Milano, who?
Yeah.
We all like Alyssa Milano. She's good looking, but then she wanted to defund the police, and then her house got robbed, and she called the poliase. The police officer said to her,
your own words, bitch. Eating your own fucking words.
Here's what the police officer said to her. No, he said, no, thanks to you, I don't have a damn job. So let your house be robbed.
Yeah, take it in your face, Lisa.
All I have to say to that is,
you like them cops now.
Guess what? We can believe in karma or what, but karma can sometimes be a bitch. So that's why I love the Dirty Harry movies, is because, yes, they are very right-wing movies, if you really want to think about it. But Dirty Harry doesn't care if you're right-wing or left-wing. He goes after what's right.
Absolutely, and that was cool about Dirty Harry. He didn't care if you were black or white. That all these cops talking about being racist and all that. That was cool about Dirty Harry. He didn't care if you were black or white. He cared about the victims. He just did his job to make sure. And what was cool about it, he was obsessed with the victims to make sure they were safe. To make sure he was obsessed with his job. He was good at it, which is why we need more characters in movies in real life like that.
In the end, all he cared about was getting the job done. That's what mattered to him the most. And
all these woke people, all these politicians bitching about left and right. Shut the fuck up. Just stick and do what Dirty Harry does. Stay in the middle. That's what's cool about Dirty Harry. He stayed in the middle. Yeah. And we need more people like that.
Just mediate and don't let the public opinions become, facts and all that stuff.
Well, exactly.
Try to change things.
Is there anything else with the movie that you guys like? I guess what stands out to you, or about Dirty Harry? Is it?
I gotta say, the most effective scene for me in the first movie, where the football stadium, where he shoots the guy in the leg, and the man is yelling, and he's just walking towards him, and he's yelling, "I have rights, and he doesn't give a shit. He wants to know, where's the fucking girl? Where's the girl? And he just steps on the leg. I was like, oh man, it's like, I liked it because it shows. This is like fire with fire. You have a psycho who's on our side.
Yeah, he shows grit, from what I understand.
Well, here's the thing. If they hypothetically made this now, I guarantee somewhere that Scorpio would have a hidden camera somewhere and then upload it to YouTube or Twitter or TikTok. And it's one of those things that, listen, we can complain about, there are like really some messed up police officers, but sometimes you gotta do what's right, and Dirty Harry knows that.
Which absolutely.
Like I don't see as much as I love this movie and the franchise. There's no way they would make this today.
Yeah, they can in a way because, of course, I have two big examples. One of the shows I do an extra for. You ever seen Chicago? I know you haven't seen Chicago PD, but the main character, Jason Begay, he's like a sergeant. He runs this unit, and he does all. He's kind of like Dirty Harry, and he does all this stuff to make sure he gets information. And in the way he does it, it was like that is so Dirty Harry. He doesn't give a shit. The way he tortures the suspects and all that. And of course, the latest one is Reacher, and that's getting a season 2. So there's hope for these characters.
I think he's.
Real quick, make a G0. We're not saying all modern stuff is bad. But I mean, what do you guys? I mean, I see what you're saying, but I mean, we're not saying all modern stuff is bad.
I'll say this: I think Wildman's just venting.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So,
I mean,
but who was talking? I forgot.
I was talking, and yeah,
Okay.
Chicago PD. That's a show that's been on for like since 2013, and people still love that show and that character. And like I said, Reacher, he's like a Dirty Harry type character, and he's getting another season. So that goes to show you, people are still hungry for these characters, and they don't give a shit about that woke stuff. Look around. These people in Hollywood, these woke people, their asses are getting fired.
Do I want a new Dirty Harry now? No, because Clint is like 92. I mean, as much as I love the guy, I would not want another one.
I remember way back they wanted 2 people to take over, either Hugh Jackman or his son Scott.
I don't see. I mean, I love
Hugh
Jackman.
You know what? Here's what you can do. You can do like a prequel to Dirty Harry, where you have Scott playing him. You can do that, like a prequel.
I think that Scott.
I mean, is Scott Eastwood really that good of an actor? Honestly,
He does some good impressions of his father. He's pretty good. He's pretty good doing impressions of him. But I don't want him to be an impression of his father. He can do his own thing. But yeah, you can do like a prequel or something like that.
I think Scott should kind of just, not. He should form his own path. Not do.
Yeah.
He only recently started even using the name Scott Eastwood. Originally he was always credited as Scott Reeves, his mother's name. So, that's at least what I think. He should just form his own path. And Hugh Jackman, maybe?
Because the character of Wolverine was based off Clint Eastwood characters, if you look at it.
Well, it's like with Scott Eastwood. Just because he looks like his dad, I don't think he has to. I mean, I think he could be capable, but he has to find what works for him. It may not be a Western. It may not be
he has some big shoes to fill, honestly. And you also need
Yeah.
a really good screenwriter, too, to really kind of have that those Dirty Harry moments that I think that will connect, later on in his older life. So, yeah.
Like I said, if they were going to do a sequel, and greenlit the fucking video game, please.
You
Do
wanna
the
do
fucking video. That's the way to bring Dirty Harry into the real age. Finish the fucking video game.
Oh, Johnny's asking, how about a crossover with Dirty Harry and Cobra back in the day?
Absolutely. That would have been awesome.
See,
Yeah.
I think that I think it could. I think a movie with the Dirty Harry life could be successful. Although, don't make it like $100 billion and stuff like this. Like, do it cheap. I think that's one of the also problems with Hollywood. And that's going. Nowadays we spend too much. Not every movie needs to be $150 million plus.
Yeah.
Make a small movie for $50 million. Or a small movie for at least maybe $15 million. Something that's cheap. Rocky, for instance, not really Dirty Harry, but that movie cost just $1 million. And then very low budget for back then, and look at the impact that movie had. I think that the biggest problem is that studios are just afraid to take risks now, because there's a documentary called, kind of getting a little off topic, but a documentary called Empire of Dreams, and George Lucas said one of the reasons why they made a lot of these very dark movies like Dirty Harry and all this stuff back in the day, and it's not a bash against Dirty Harry, but the Xanax, the the Warner, the big executives who made the great movie Crash in 1930 were retiring, and they were selling their movies to corporations. So like if Coke, let's say you sold your movie to Coke, so Coke, the Coke marketing team says that, oh, we need to make a movie about some product because
Mhm.
the marketing research says that people like this. And case in point, we're going through that today in Hollywood. Case in point, the Emoji Movie.
Especially the
John,
superhero movies, which people are getting tired of.
well,
Well,
John,
make it. You left a comment here saying I don't think a movie about cops would sell. The last few cop-centric films are all underperformed.
Well, because they need to have balls. I mean, look at Reacher. That's a TV show, and that is successful. They need people who are not afraid to do. I forgot another good example of where another good movie, a Dirty Harry type movie that totally represents the wokeness of what's going on today. We forgot. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned this. Demolition Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is not a cop movie, but I could throw John Wick into there because I mean, you see how you look at the style of action that John Wick does.
He's a renegade. He doesn't give a shit. He'll kill you out without even thinking.
Well, I could say, like, imagine if you had that style of action for a cop movie.
Well, actually, that's a perfect example of, that the first John Wick, didn't cost that much money at all.
It wasn't it wasn't a big hit when it came out, the first one, but on video it blew up.
It made enough money. It underperformed, I think, the first one. Now, the first trailer, came out like a month before the movie came out? John Wick, something like that.
It probably came out a few months, but
Is Yellowstone about a cop? I guess it's been successful.
I heard a lot about that. Kevin Costner. I need to check that out, but for right now, I'll stick with Reacher right now and Chicago PD. Yeah.
Wasn't there the most recent cop film? Didn't that have the actor that played Black Panther?
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, I know, but no one remembers that movie.
No,
but
I think what's his face? John Boyega, I think, was in another cop film that was, I think, 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe.
Yeah, but these are cop dramas. We need to go back to the times of super cops, because how nowadays cops are treated like racist or whatever. But back then they were treated like superheroes. We need that again. We need more like Miami Vice. We need more Dirty Harry. We need more Cobra. We need more Reacher. These are the type of heroes we need now besides superheroes.
And I think real quick with Yellowstone, I think with its success, Kevin Costner is a part of it. It's dramatic. I think that's more dramatic.
Isn't that more of a Western?
Yeah, it's made by Taylor Sheridan.
It's more of a modern day Western. Yellowstone, its biggest problem is it's too melodramatic. It's like it's basically a Western soap opera. Basically, it's its biggest problem. Like, there's drama for the sake of drama.
That's another problem. That's another problem with movies, especially action movies. They want to add some melodramatic shit, like the bullshit they pull with James Bond, a big example. And they keep taking these popular franchises and make them to some dramatic shit. And please don't do it with Dirty Harry if they decide to bring him back. We don't need any more of that. Just keep it straightforward. That's what Dirty Harry was about. He was straightforward. He got the job done. That's it. We don't need no. I know his wife died, but we don't need to know anymore. He was a tough guy. He got through it. That's what's cool about Dirty Harry. You didn't need more emotional shit. Cobra. These are characters who went through shit and they toughened up and they moved on. We don't need any more of that melodramatic stuff. That was so cool about these characters, especially Dirty Harry.
Well, Johnny Jerry mentioned Street Kings here.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Good,
yeah, that was a good one.
And the sequel's pretty good too.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, Street Kings from Understood didn't do that great, sadly. So
the sequel.
That's a great movie.
The sequel has Ray Liotta
and Hugh Laurie being in it too.
I wanted to tell you guys something. Because I was planning on doing this a while back, but I stopped because I didn't think I'd had the technology today, because I know people are doing fan films like crazy. I don't think I would have done it back then. I was planning to do a Dirty Harry fan film. I was planning on doing that, but I got too busy with life and with how cameras were back then. I don't think I would have done it. But doing it now, it's possible. I might try give it another shot. Or maybe do a fan film, or maybe just a little video or something. I'm still thinking about doing it. Maybe a fan film, or maybe some special video or something like that. But yeah, I was planning on doing a fan film, and I got too busy. And I don't think I would have gotten it done back then, because fan films are much more better now than they were, because there were a lot of fan films that were the way they are now. So maybe I'll give it another shot. And also, I came up with this very cool character who's like a Dirty Harry. But what's cool about him, he's an FBI agent.
Yeah,
He's an FBI agent. What was cool about these movies? The thing about these action cop movies is you always had the FBI trying to fuck things up with the cop hero, like Die Hard or whatever. All the FBI is always coming in to get in the cop's way. But this is unique because you have the FBI guy being the renegade. And what's cool about FBI, they're freelance. They can go wherever they want. They're not out there in jurisdiction. And I had this character in my head. He's half Native American, so he's like a tracker. And he's like a throwback to those classic gunslinging. He carries 2 guns. So he's kind of like a throwback to those classic Western heroes in the modern age.
Yes. As Mecca.
Oh, you're really breaking up.
As Mecca kindly pointed out,
You're breaking up. You're scrambling.
You're scrambling. Yeah.
Double communications, Ty.
As Mecca pointed out, yes, there's a series on my channel, The Holiday Intruder, and the character that I play is inspired by Dirty Harry.
Junebug, you're fuzzing.
You're sounding like a
pretty bad.
robot, man.
Yeah, the robot is starting to take over. Gotta fix those money.
I farted.
Yeah. The Holiday Intruder,
Yeah,
Mecha G0.
Yeah,
I never heard of that. You know what? Another good example of Dirty Harry. He wasn't even a cop. The TV show, The Equalizer. You remember? Do you know The Equalizer with Denzel? But you know about the TV show, right? Not the Free Latifah show, the real show.
That was
The Holiday Intruder is something that I did on my channel, and I did kind of base a little bit my character off of Dirty Harry.
Hey, Deep Fry says you sound like 8-bit right now.
Yeah. Nintendo style.
I don't know if you want to try to hang up and come back in. I mean, it's up to you, but I'll put the invite back out there. But
yeah, The Equalizer it was a very unique example of that time, because he wasn't a cop. He wasn't really a private investigator. He was like a spy who decided to help people in need. So it's like, what if James Bond went into the world of Dirty Harry? That's basically what The Equalizer was.
Mm-hmm. I do have the DVD series, but it seems like some of the music that I heard, back in the earlier seasons that were replaced. But for some reason, the Reaching 2 DVDs, they have the music that was unchanged.
Are you talking about The Equalizer?
Yeah, the TV show. Yeah.
Yeah.
do you guys remember any of the features that are carried over? Like, do you guys remember any of the documentaries that? Because there's some good stuff on here.
There was some. I noticed on the Blu-ray, the complete.
I do have the Blu-ray of all films.
Yeah, because it actually has some documentaries, or at least one for each film. Sadly, there's no deleted scenes from this, so.
The Joonbug had to leave. His battery was getting low.
And you know what? I almost forgot. This was a joke. This wasn't real, but we thought it was a real thing. It was a joke. Do you remember that Will Smith was was interested in Dirty Harry, but it was a joke, but we thought it was real?
What would that be called now? I mean, knowing what happened with Will Smith. I mean, Dirty Pimp,
Dirty
Slap,
Willie.
Dirty
Slap
Sim.
me silly,
Dirty silly Willie.
slap me Harry. I'm French or something.
Yeah, Dirty Willie.
Dirty Willie style.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Will Smith was going to slap Clint Eastwood? He would go off on him.
Did you guys hear about Expendables 4 coming out next year in the fall?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Yeah, I did hear about that.
I
Unfortunately,
guess it just needed some more time for advertising and stuff, unless there's some reshoots. So yeah.
But why do you have to put in Megan Fox and fucking 50 Cent? You didn't want them 50 Cent in the first movie.
there you go. There's the answer to your question, Mako. Yeah, 50 Cent's in the movie, and Megan Fox, Andy Garcia.
Yeah, Andy Garcia is great, but geez, you couldn't get Jeff Speakman or any of those other action guys who need work.
Or get John Woo to direct.
Yeah, see, that's why I liked Cobra Kai season 5, because it did a better job with the Expendables than this franchise. They brought everybody in. And of course, the big news. Did you see Hilary Swank on TV?
Yeah, she's pregnant with twins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they asked her, "Would you do it?" He said, "Oh, no one's called me." But I believe they're going to use her. But I believe they're still going to use her because they are going to plan to do the creators of the show are going to work on other projects. So that gives Hilary Swank time to have her twins and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what's going to happen now that she's pregnant with twins? They're going to wait a year or two before they do season 6.
Yeah, they're gonna do other projects before season 6, so that gives her time. I
heard something. And I know we're getting off topic here, and that's fine. I mean, it's a live stream too, but with season 6 of Cobra Kai, there's some speculation. Again, it's just rumor, but there could be a time jump.
Like what they're trying to do with Stranger Things.
Well, kind of like, because now Hilary Swank is pregnant with twins, they could possibly have, some time moved forward in the story. It could be a year. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't mind that because if the storyline in Cobra Kai was like on 1 year or two, so yeah, like kind of like what they're planning to do with Stranger Things season 5, that's going to be the last season as well.
You know what I think I just thought they should probably have gotten Cynthia Rothrock. I'm sure that would have been good. But
but speaking of TV shows, we almost forgot Hunter. That's like a Dirty Harry show.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I remember watching the pilot, and I enjoyed the pilot.
Works for me.
Do you know who was the villain in the pilot for Hunter?
Who?
Brian Dennehy.
Oh.
And they made like a bunch of movies, like spinoff movies.
Yeah, they did series. Some TV. It's like they always do that. Like if you have a successful TV show, they will always do a series of TV movies, like with Perry Mason, Matlock, and now Perry Mason. That's another good example. He was a lawyer. You had a hero who was a lawyer.
Yeah. Deep Fried is asking why they stopped making Dirty Harry films.
I guess maybe because Clint didn't want to do it anymore, but he should have. I know I mentioned a lot of times that Clint Eastwood lost his balls, and I say that respectfully. I'm not trying to bash the guy, but he should have kept his balls. And I know he wanted to do different things. He won an Oscar for Unforgiven. That's just cool. But Clint, come on, you should have kept your balls, man. Come on.
Well, now, I mean, but what do you mean by that? If you don't mind me asking, like.
It's like ever since I understand he wanted to do different things, but it's like ever since Unforgiven, it's like when he won an Oscar. I know he did In the Line of Fire. It's like he didn't play these badass characters that we used to love him for. I know there were talks of him doing Expendables, and I guess he said he was too busy. But yeah, no offense to the man personally, but professionally, I understand he wanted to do different things, but come on, man, this is what made you who you are, man.
But I think, and he's a great director too. I know Mako mentioned Letters from Iwo Jima and Flags of Our Fathers.
And speaking of Hilary Swank, $1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby's great. Sudden Impact, a Dirty Harry film that he directed.
That was the first Dirty Harry movie he directed, the only one he directed. And like I said, he directed Gran Torino, and that was supposed to be Dirty Harry 6, but for some fucking reason he changed it. I don't get why. That's why I got the idea that he lost his balls.
Well, even by then, I mean, he was pushing 80, right? I mean, and even by like Dirty Harry.
Yeah, but he always talks about he takes care of himself. He's on a good diet and all that. So especially the scene in Gran Torino where he beats the shit out of the kid,
But I think even by the Deadpool, the last Dirty Harry film, he was pushing 60.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He was pushing 60, and maybe it was time for him to just
But
level out.
even after Dirty Harry, he did another cool movie that was kind of like Dirty Harry. Like, you ever seen Blood Work?
I haven't
It was
seen that.
2002, actually.
That was a very good movie. That's because he played an FBI agent who was chasing this killer. He had a heart attack, and years later, he has to deal with finding this killer while dealing with his heart. He had a heart problem. Very good, underrated movie. He did good. He directed that. He did a good job with that.
Do you think that Clint is done? I mean, I know he's up there in age. And Cry Macha was okay.
I enjoyed that. I don't think he's done with directing. Maybe he'll do some acting with it, but it's always a mystery with Clint Eastwood. You don't know what he's going to do.
He's older than Moses at this point. He's not going to be an action star. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I love Clint, but if he has one more left, then I would say do something in vein of The Mule, because I like that. I think he should have ended it on that. I don't know what you guys feel about.
Like I said, he should have finished the Dirty Harry game. That's what that would be. But like I said, if we're gonna get an old school action star back in the day, today in a Dirty Harry way, it has to be Cobra with Stallone. Stallone still has time to do it. I don't know why he's so fucking stubborn. Do it before it's too late.
Have you got Play Misty for me? Have you guys seen that one?
That is a very good movie. That was his first directing job, and you can tell that was the inspiration for Fatal Attraction. We wouldn't have movies like Fatal Attraction if it weren't for that movie. That was like the first movie that dealt with obsessed stalkers. You know, that was the first movie to do that. That was the seed that led to movies like Fatal Attraction.
Right.
I have that as part of.
I haven't seen it actually, but I hear it's good.
You have to check it out. I look for your review on that.
From what I understood, there was another detective-related movie they did after Sudden Impact called Tightrope or something like that.
Tightrope was a very, very deep movie because he wasn't playing. He took that persona of Dirty Harry and he went deeper with. He was chasing this killer who was killing prostitutes, and while that he had a sex he was a sex addict. And the killer was following the same traits that he had.
Right on Target's asking, what was the gameplay of Dirty Harry going to be?
It was supposed to be like Grand Theft Auto. Like Grand Theft Auto was going to be like third person, and you're driving in cars. You're interrogating suspects, and it's like the classic third person, like a free roam type of thing. And Clint was involved. Like I said, his production company was involved. He treated it like it was a movie production. He had Gene Hackman back, Michael Chiklis, Michael Biehn, Rosanna Sanchez, I think her name was. He had Lucy Liu. He had it all planned out. They showed the gameplay, the art. They had Lawrence Fishburne. It was 98% finished, and for some reason they just dropped it without any explanation.
Was this back in like 06?
I first heard the news. I remember back when G4 was legit, instead of the crap that it is now. It was about video games, and they had the thing E3 they had every year. It was 2017. They had Scarface, Reservoir Dogs, and they were talking about Dirty Harry, and Clint Eastwood was there. He said he was very excited about this game. He was there. He said it, and for some reason, they dropped it. I don't fucking get why.
Having a Halloween marathon, watching Halloween Resurrection.
Well, Halloween Resurrection, it was kind of fun in a trashy.
Can you imagine Dirty Harry chases after Sarah? Can you imagine if Dirty Harry chased after Michael Myers?
We're going to go somewhere like that. That would have been interesting.
Make my Halloween.
Yeah, make my Halloween.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, Jonathan. Expendables 4 coming out next year in the fall.
Oh boy.
Delay. Oh well.
I mean, it'd probably never be possible to see Clint jumping around and doing flips. Yeah, I mean,
maybe they should have Keanu Reeves learn from Dirty Harry. And
you know what? Yeah. Charles Bronson, he stayed in the game for a while, despite his age. You know, he was like, but what he was dealing with Alzheimer's, so he had to stop. But Charles Bronson, he kept it going for a while. You know.
Mega's asking who was the developer and distributor.
It was Warner Brothers, and it was something else I don't remember. But it was something. Of course, Warner Brothers were developed. It was because it was a Warner Brothers property.
It wasn't Rockstar. They didn't have no part of it.
People want Rockstar to do it. I will love them for them to do it because they're good of the graphics. They look what they did with the Warriors game.
But they didn't. That wasn't Rockstar, was it?
Yeah, the Warriors was Rockstar.
I mean, with Dirty Harry, that wasn't Rockstar.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But fans want them to do it.
Mm-mm.
That actually might work.
Yeah, because you see all these people making these small movies with different characters like Dirty Harry. So why not have Rockstar get a hold of it?
Was it Warner Interactive?
I think it was because they did the Matrix. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was Warner Brothers Interactive. Yes. Look at the trailer. It's in the trailer because even the trailer is still up on YouTube. It was a good trailer. And now they made some short documentaries of the game of why it didn't happen, and it was ready to go. It was almost finished. It was 98% finished, and for some fucking reason they dropped it without a good explanation. I don't get why.
It would have been a great game. I mean,
absolutely.
I would have played it. I'm trying to think what systems it would have came out for.
They were planning to come. They were planning for it to come out on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, all the systems. They were planning on doing that.
I would say this: it definitely would have made everyone's day for sure, right?
Absolutely.
I keep thinking like it probably would have been like Scarface, the video game.
Yeah, Scarface. Scarface was the resurgence of making a good movie-based game. Because like I said, Scarface was part of that E3 that same year. They talked about that. They talked about Reservoir Dogs. They talked about Dirty Harry. And of course, a few years after that, we had Ghostbusters. Scarface led the way for that research of good movie-based games. And if they greenlight this Dirty Harry game, it will be an even bigger resurgence. If stop being so fucking lazy and get dirty like Dirty Harry.
Yeah. Anyone thinks that Bill Murray's aged horribly? Like, holy crap! He's been back in Boston Translation. This is Johnny Jerry.
Yeah, but he's still funny though. He's still funny.
Yeah,
that's a Warriors game.
Yeah, the Warriors was a very good example of a good movie-based game. They took something from the movie and they put in something that you didn't see in the movie, and it worked. Which is why they could do something with the Warriors. Like I said, do a TV show on Netflix. Go back to the 70s, how expand that world just like in the game, and they could take note from Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai was an example how to make a game, how to make a show like the Warriors.
That's one game that I never played. Like, I just remember seeing it everywhere, and I had a PlayStation 2 back then, but I'm like, I never got around to playing the Warriors.
You got to check it out because it was a good throwback to those classic beat 'em up games like Double Dragon and Streets of Rage.
Well, here's a question: like, if you can make a video game out of a movie from the 70s, like the Warriors, what other film could you like to see?
For me,
definitely Death Wish.
Yeah, it's possible. I was going to say maybe do a kind of a card type of video game for Bullet or something. Maybe you can do some. Well, that's from this late 60s. So
I almost forgot they were planning to do a taxi driver. They did a taxi driver's game. The footage is on YouTube. They were about to come out with it, but Martin Scorsese, him.
You there, Wild Man? Looks like somebody got to him.
Yeah, Scorpio. Dirty Harry got to him.
They even said they were gonna release it anyway, even without Scorsese. But something happened with that. It looked pretty good. It was supposed to be a sequel to that movie, Taxi Driver. And De Niro was interested.
Were they going to get Sybil Shepherd in there too?
They didn't mention her.
I forgot they did Rocky Legends.
Of course.
That was a great game. But that was based on the first 5 Rocky movies. But I'm trying
to look at a Rambo game, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was. The graphics were off, but it was still fun though.
Enter the Dragon would have been great.
Yes.
I'm just looking at 7.
No, it's Shaft. They do a Shaft game. Richard Roundtree, he's still alive.
Oh, they did The Godfather. I forgot about The Godfather.
Yes, a very good game. Very good game. Yes.
Can you imagine Duel as a video game?
Oh, now you're talking.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some movies here.
The speak is there. I think they did a Halloween game, but it was fan made. That was in the 70s. They did a Halloween game, but it was fan made.
Smoking the Bandit.
Oh, now yes.
Rollerball.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. Now you coming out with some good ones. Yes.
Leon the Professional. We were talking about like 70s.
Yeah. They need to do that. They can do like I said. They were planning on doing a sequel with Natalie Portman, her taking over, but they can also do this. Do like an alternate sequel, like with the Scarface game. Like, what if he didn't die? He raises Natalie Portman and trains her. She grows up and she becomes his full protege. And now that she's grown up, she can basically become his lover.
And what about
she's all grown up now. You can bring John Reno, he's still alive. Natalie Portman, she's still alive. You can bring them back to do the voices. It'll be great.
Well, this is a good question right here. What about a Dirty Harry TV show like the Lethal Weapon one?
The Lethal Weapon series, it had moments, but yeah, Dirty Harry show. Yeah, you could do that. Do a streaming show, put it in the 70s. I'm sure they'll find some good actor who can master Clint, but I don't know. We already had it with Hunter, but yeah.
Would Escape from Alcatraz been a good video game with Clint Eastwood?
Yes, because
I thought about that one.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
But a good strategy.
They
strategy game.
Mad Max, but they probably already did.
The Mad Max game was great. I don't care what anybody says.
Did they do
way better than the Nintendo one, and that's fun. Oh, speaking of that, they did a Dirty Harry game from Nintendo, and it was shitty. It was shitty.
Which system did it come
for Nintendo?
Out?
He's wearing a blue suit, and he disguises himself as a pimp. He looks like Michael Jackson in a white suit and all this stupid shit.
What are we talking about here?
The Dirty Harry game from Nintendo.
Quinn's got new music video coming out within the week. Metal Gear Sega footage. That's pretty cool.
Or how about even The Getaway with Steve McQueen? That would have been interesting.
I love The Getaway. And it'll be cool they did a video game. And of course, they did a remake with starring none other than smart Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad remake.
You also had, what's his face? Michael Madsen was in
Michael Madsen, yeah.
And Jennifer Tilly.
You know what? I just thought about this. Westworld. Based on the 70s movie.
Yes, way better than that crappy show. I don't get. It's so pretentious. It's like Euphoria. Yeah, you do a Westworld game and focus on the original movie.
Yeah, there was Westworld and Future World, if I'm not mistaken.
Can you imagine like playing one of the characters and you're being hunted by Yul Brynner?
No, it sounds a lot like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That game they're coming out with for that.
I don't know how that's. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to play it, but the Omega Man would have been cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Way better. 10 times better than I Am Legend. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
maybe even Black Sunday with what's his face?
Charlton Heston, was he in that too?
No, it had what's his? Oh, gosh, it was the Robert Shaw who he was in it.
Yeah, Foxy Brown.
Yeah, they could do a Foxy, or even better, Coffee. That's another classic role from.
Better yet, maybe maybe they already did one. The French Connection.
Oh man. You could definitely bring Gene Hackman for that. Speak of coming out of retirement for a video game.
Yeah, I'll probably. Is 10 more minutes okay with you guys?
Yeah, that's fine.
And we'll take any sort of like random questions, whatever you guys want to ask us here for the next 10, 15 minutes, and we'll have some fun.
I got to tell you this. If there was one movie that was close to a Dirty Harry Death Wish crossover, if there was one movie that was close to the series that ended up as a crossover with that and Death Wish, is definitely Sudden Impact, because it was about a vigilante going around killing, and Dirty Harry is investigating. Can you imagine if that was Charles Bronson's character from Death Wish, and Dirty Harry is chasing him, and then later on at the climax they end up working together?
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Because I believe that was the plan. They were supposed to do. I believe that was the original plan for Sudden Impact. I believe they wanted to have a crossover definitely. And Charles Bronson even did his version of the few movies that was kind of like a Dirty Harry type. You ever seen that you saw 10 to Midnight, right?
Yeah, that's a good movie.
They even the critics even said that was one of Charles Bronson's best, and he took a lot from Dirty Harry.
Yeah, I could imagine that movie as like a video game.
Exactly.
Chasing around this naked killer.
Yeah.
Um,
Imagine if that was a Dirty Harry movie.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, Assault Precinct 13th would have been a cool video game.
Oh, now you're getting somewhere. Yes. Imagine if that was a Dirty Harry movie.
Deep Fried is asking, since I'm watching the Halloween right now, what do you guys' thoughts on the franchise?
It was okay from the beginning, but now it kind of went off the hills.
Yeah, I enjoy 1, 2, the first 4. I'm not a fan of 5 and 6. It's a little bit better, but after I'm going to rewatch them again soon.
H2O was the only good recent of that franchise. Jamie Lee Curtis should have ended there.
Yeah.
And if you were going to do a sequel to Resurrection, there was like supposedly a lot of concepts saying that maybe Josh Hartnett was going to be in the next one, where maybe he goes after him next or something like that, or he gets involved. That would have been interesting if they're.
That should have been the sequels to these new movies.
Yeah, that's what I would have done at least. At least have Josh. Josh Hartnett seems to be on a. I don't know about now, but he was sort of on like a comeback kind of role, because he was definitely the heartthrob of the late '90s and early 2000s. I mean, he was in the Pearl Harbor, right? He was Michael Bay.
He was in that movie. Very funny. The 30 Days, 30 Nights, I think it was. Yeah. Vanessa Shaw from Hocus Pocus was it. It was 30 Days, 40 Days, 40 Nights. Yeah.
Yeah, Lucky Number 11. That's a good one.
And then he was in that vampire film that came out in 2007, which
30 Days of Night, I think it was.
Yeah, 30 Days of Night. And then he was believe it or not, he was in the Jason Statham film last year, Wrath of Men, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in it.
He was in that mini show, mini series with Kevin Hart, Die Hard, where Kevin Hart was trying to be an action star. He was in that.
Yeah. So, what are you guys' thoughts overall on Dirty Harry? I know it's been a little bit of a mixture
feel like
of topics.
I honestly need to watch start from the beginning. Some of them are actually on Tubi for free, except for the first one. I can't seem to get the first one or look for the first one for free, unless if you all know where I can watch it somewhere for free without having to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I buy the Blu-rays and stuff, because I actually don't have those movies. Because I always wondered if there's going to be a new collector's edition or a new 4K remaster. Like if Arrow were ever to get the rights, they probably would do a new scan of it, give it new features. Because I don't know if I want to fork over the money for those films just yet. But then again, have they ever gotten involved with any kind of Warner Brothers titles? I know they've done Universal and so forth. So, I mean, does anyone know? You probably wouldn't know, but I don't know if anyone in the chat knows. That would be cool if Arrow does, they're able to get, hold of The Last Starfighter, which I do have.
Well, there's only 2 people watching, I think, Deep Fried and Johnny's, so I don't.
Let me ask you some scenes, especially the scene in the first movie. What did you think after he kills Scorpio? What did you think of him throwing his? What did you think of the scene him throwing his badge in the river?
That was a pretty cool moment.
Dare you spoil that?
I forgot about that moment. But I think, I don't know. I liked it. I did. What do you feel about it?
I thought it was because a lot of people they weren't sure they were going to do sequels, but now it kind of represents how he feels about the justice system, how he was part of the system and the system doesn't work for him anymore. He's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it my way from now on. Yeah, it's so symbolic.
And that's why for Magnum Force, they kind of tone it back a little bit because of all the, and I still love Dirty Harry, and I know there's a backlash that came with it. But yeah, we lost Wild Man there. Hopefully he'll be back. But yeah, Magnum Force, I would say I prefer more, but I still like the ending of Dirty Harry.
Apparently there's a clip that has Dirty Harry on feminism and women's quotas. Is this from the first one or from the later sequels?
I don't know. I forgot. But Wildman, hopefully, he'll be back to close out the stream. Let me put another. Oh, there he
I
is.
mean, I didn't know too
Hey.
much.
Okay, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was going to say that there was a clip on YouTube, something about Dirty Harry on feminism and women's quotas. I didn't know if that was from the first one or from the later sequels.
Probably the Enforcer, if I had to guess. Because the Enforcer, he has
That's when you're
time
introduced to Time Daily.
daily, yeah.
I was going to
But
say, hey, man, do you know if there's another? I know Tubi has like has 2 through 5 available for free on Tubi, but not the first one. Do you know where I can watch the first one for free?
The first one is available on Netflix.
It is?
Yes, because that goes to show you how important this movie still is today. Because we're in the world of madness, of left wing and right wing.
Yeah, we might
And
as well
that's
be
what
in John
Dirty Harry. If you look at all those 5 films, that's what Dirty Harry represented. This madness of politics and left and right and black and white, gray. Dirty Harry was a symbol of fuck all that. Just stay in the middle. Do what you got to do. And he did it. And that's what we need today. That's what's missing, and we need that more than ever. That's what Dirty Harry represents. He led the way for these type of badass action heroes like Martin Riggs, Rambo. They all go back to Dirty Harry. Way better than these fucking superhero movies that superheroes don't exist in real life. Characters like Dirty Harry, Rambo, the Maverick. These are characters that can exist in real life, and we need more of those. And I believe it's a risk. Thanks to Top Gun Maverick, it's going to be a resurgence to something like that, especially Dirty Harry. Even with Reacher, the time has come to go back to the roots, go back to basics. It's the perfect time.
Yeah, and I mean, Dirty Harry. In regards, I mean, overall thoughts on that. It's not my favorite of the franchise, but I respect it, and it's a great movie. It's well directed, well acted. Clint puts on a great performance. Andrew Robinson as a Scorpio plays a great psychopath. I love the setting of the San Francisco. I liked that early '70s raw factor in terms of the filmmaking and the attitude.
Right. I was going to say.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that Dirty Harry was inspired by the Zodiac Killer.
Yes, I'm surprised we didn't mention that. Yes, it was inspired by the Zodiac Killer. If Dirty Harry was real, he would figure it out and take him down in a second.
I mean, my favorite is the next one, and I can't wait to talk about that one. But I still enjoyed the first movie, but I'm probably going to put Magnum Force a step higher. But that's my overall thoughts on the first movie.
It definitely goes deeper than the first film.
Yeah, but this was fun, and when we get up again for Magnum Force, we'll have fun about with that one. But
I'll definitely be there. I really appreciate you doing this. I'm glad. Because where would Dirty Harry be without me? While you doing this, and I'm glad you're getting into the movies. I'm looking forward to doing it again with you. And let's stay in the middle and let's stay dirty. And seeing the stars.
Yeah, but sorry for the little technical issues that we experienced throughout the stream. I know Joonbug was having some issues with his phone, but next time, we'll get it right and. I think we'll format it a little bit better when we talk about Magnum Force, and we'll let you guys know ahead of time when that's going to be. But thank you guys again. Thank you and to Retro Scotty and Wildman for joining.
My pleasure, man.
Glad to be a part of the stream again. Any chance
we're so glad we made your day.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll definitely make John will definitely have his day for sure. We'll definitely make his day.
But everybody out there, thank you for watching, and see you around.
Yep.
Good night. Stay dirty.
Good night, folks.